and have the same opportunities as anyone else. Access means everyone should be able to access the justice system and information. So they should all have equal opportunity to have information on the legal system and be able to use it. And we'll go into more detail on each so you can really get a good grasp. So fairness refers to things like fair processes and a fair hearing for the accused person, for example, or for the defendant and the plaintiff in a civil case. Okay, so this includes lots of things. How can we ensure processes are fair? How can we ensure there's a fair hearing in court? This means everyone needs to be able to understand and comprehend court processes and procedures, especially those formal procedures that they have to be a part of. As you can imagine, a big part of that would be having legal representation. Without legal representation, we might be hindering our ability to achieve fairness. We might not be able to understand these court processes and procedures. Processes and procedures should be completed in a timely fashion. There shouldn't be unreasonable delays or an accused person waiting for their criminal trial in custody, in jail for an abnormal amount of time. Okay, so it should be completed in a timely fashion with adequate legal representation. We need legal representation in order to be able to present our case in its best light and have the highest chances of success, essentially. Everyone also has the opportunity to present an individual defense. This goes for the criminal justice system in particular. An accused should be able to raise a defense. Maybe you've heard of things like, insanity defense, for example. Everyone should know what evidence is being brought against them, so parties actually share the evidence that they're going to use against each other before trial, so they can prepare for that evidence to appear to court, how they're going to make it lose credibility, or defend against it, or bring up other evidence that discredits that piece of evidence. So evidence sharing, whatever the prosecution submits in a criminal trial and whatever the accused and the accused person's legal rep are planning to use, it's disclosed to the trial, and all parties that are part of the trial then have access to that evidence so they can prepare for it to appear in trial. Similarly, in a civil case, the plaintiff who has brought the claim to court and the defendant who is the party that the case is against, they also have to share evidence with one another. With fairness, everyone also has the opportunity to disprove the respective counsel's case. So maybe cross-examination comes to mind when some evidence is presented by the prosecution, for example. The accused person's legal representation will afterwards cross-examine and question the witness that the prosecution has been using to try to discredit them. And everyone should have the opportunity to try to appeal or review a decision, if there are grounds to do so, to have a case reviewed by a higher court. Now, equality is more self-explanatory. Everyone should be treated evenly before the law with the same opportunities to present their case. This means everyone really needs to be having an equal opportunity to present their case. There should be no bias or prejudice in any of our processes. This happens more so in fairness. Fairness is all about that, having no bias, okay? But everyone should have the same rights. Everyone should have the same entitlements that they are entitled to. No one should be treated at a disadvantage, okay? That's what equality is all about. So don't confuse the two. Remember, fairness is a lot about no bias, impartial decisions, impartial judge, impartial processes, giving everyone a fair go. And equality is everything should be the same, essentially, for everyone. So I've got a little bit of a comparison table to try to show you how the points that you could use, and you could even use something like this in questions, okay, how they would differ for fairness and equality. So for fairness, we see severe penalties should be given for severe crimes and vice versa. That shows that unbiased treatment. If you've committed a severe crime, of course you should get a severe punishment. The same would happen for a minor offending, be a minor penalty slash sanction, okay? Can present their case with strict adherence to rules of evidence and procedures. So fairness means everyone needs to be subject to the same strict rules of evidence and procedure that are in court, including the language, the strict deadlines. Everyone has to follow those because that's fair. And if people are treated differently, it should be from application of the law, not because of their personal characteristics. So that is fairness. Equality instead means being deemed equal in status, rights, and opportunities. We all have the same rights in the court system in an ideal world. So when you give a weakness for how a process does not achieve equality, you look at how it fails to make everyone equal as part of that system or process, okay? And which people would not have equality in that instance. But the assumption that equality makes is that everyone who comes before the law is treated the same. As you can imagine, that doesn't really happen. And laws should be applied equally to everyone and not provide exceptions or discriminate individuals based on any of their personal attributes. So all of these things should not be a factor and should not be posing any kind of threat or disadvantage to you. Lastly, looking at access. Remember, it's all about understanding legal rights and the court system and pursuing claims in the legal system. So if I want to initiate a case against someone that has, caused me some kind of harm or loss, first of all, if I had access, I would be able to understand that I have a right to initiate a claim against them and how. And then I would also be able to pursue that claim to actually go have the finances and the information and the opportunity to go and try to sue that person, for example, by initiating a case. So with access, everyone should be understanding of their legal rights in society. That includes what laws there are and how they can pursue anything if there's been some kind of wrongdoing against them. Everyone should also be able to pursue their case through avenues not beyond their reach. So, courts are expensive. As you will learn, and as we'll look at in this lecture, there are a few other bodies that offer low cost or even free resolution. They aim to enhance access the most within these criminal and civil justice systems, okay? Because they try to make it affordable for everyone who couldn't access the courts otherwise. They couldn't afford it. Access also implies that everyone should be able to access courts, education, information, assistance, bodies, and institutions regarding a legal process and just to seek advice. And everyone should receive materials pertaining to criminal cases, processes, and outcomes. So everyone is able to access information and bodies to pursue their claims. Okay. So looking at the principles of justice, this is a bit of a summary table. Don't expect this to make everything clear for you yet, but this is giving you some examples that are really good to discuss for each principle of justice across the justice system overall. So we said because fairness is all about bias and not having bias, an impartial judge and jury are beneficial for the attainment of fairness, having an open and public hearing so everyone can see that it is fair. People can actually go to court and watch and see that there is no discrimination happening. The court for Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander peoples is giving them an unbiased process that they can access for sentencing. Equality, all individuals are able to use the justice system, all of them have the same rights. So we're just about to start looking at the rights of the accused and the rights of victims. Um, and this helps to uphold equality because all individuals get the same rights with regards to the criminal justice system. Access, all those bodies and organizations that I mentioned help to provide access to more people to pursue claims because it's more affordable, it's quicker, etc. They also share their own information about the court system and how everything works, and what the law is, etc. So you should have tables like this in your notes. For most of Unit 3, you will be making tables or dot point notes just like this pretty much every single time in Unit 3, both in criminal and civil. When you learn a concept or a process, you will be writing points for how that process does achieve the principles of justice and how it doesn't achieve. And you will need to remember a lot of points. So it becomes a difficult subject in that sense. But what I would like to say is you shouldn't be memorizing everything, but you should just be making sense of all information that you cover in the subject until you can just understand it. There shouldn't be any need for you to memorize. Maybe at first you will need to memorize these ideas, but then you'll notice that how each principle of justice is achieved or isn't achieved, the points start to get very repetitive, and you'll just be able to think of points for each topic as long as you understand it. Okay, so this is great because I like this meme. When you use access in every question where you have to link to the principles of justice, ain't much, but it's honest work. Um, because access is so easy to use. If it's all about understanding costs and time being minimized or not being minimized, thus achieving or not achieving access, it becomes so easy to use. And a lot of students do that, and it's just a little bit of a life hack.